Midday stream story. This is rare for us. And what was the last thing I said about the Titans pick right before we got on air, before this pick got in? What did I say?
So you did see it then. You did see it.
No, I didn't see it. I said they better take Nick Singleton. And now I see they took Nick Singleton. So
That's what I'm
finally,
saying.
I think we have a good landing spot.
Yeah, how can you not be happy about that? That is probably the first good landing spot I have seen in the last 12 hours.
Yeah, and we said it in his profile, like he has the potential to overtake, maybe not an Ashton Genty type, but like this is far from Ashton Genty. This is literally an old Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears who cannot stay healthy. So this is the type of player that can be the handcuff for both and have a kind of early on role as an ancillary piece. But I love this spot for Nick Singleton. Finally, we also had Emmett Johnson going to the Chiefs at pick 161. Which is, I think, better than some of the other landing spots, just because if he gets the opportunity and Kenneth Walker's on a mark of health,
Yeah, I mean, the health thing is a concern. I worry that they're going to, I mentioned this when we talked about our running back rankings, they're going to pigeonhole him into a Jerick McKinnon type role, which is less than ideal for him, I would say. So hopefully that is not what they have envisioned, but man, he kind of feels like an Andy Reid scat back. At least in this context.
I get what you're saying, but they have Brashard Smith, who they like. So I feel like they would have drafted a bigger back, if they were looking for, like, they're not looking for a scat back. They're looking for a guy that can be versatile. And Emmett Johnson is that. I know you don't want to believe that, but he's a guy that could take over the lead role if Kenneth Walker gets hurt. He's a guy that can carve out a role behind Kenneth Walker. And again, we're talking 5th round stuff here. So
yeah.
The way it's rough.
They don't really care about draft capital, right? Isaiah Pacheco had several years run as the Chiefs lead back there, but this is Kenneth Walker. I don't think Emmett Johnson unseats Kenneth Walker much at all.
Oh no,
like this is good news.
Or doesn't take a lot of work. He doesn't take a lot of work from anyone. I'm just saying, like, it's not like he's on a bad team. Like this is a fruitful running back spot, right? This team, the Chiefs, are going to give you fantasy relevance from the running back spot. So if he gets the opportunity, which is most likely going to be an injury to Kenneth Walker, it would be a good spot. So I feel like there's way worse spots from these guys that went earlier. And then Mike Washington.
Yeah,
there we go. So
yeah, that is strictly a backup role. Now it is a valuable backup role, I think, but it is strictly a value. He's not going to have any standalone value. This knocks him down several pegs in dynasty drafts. This obviously he's off the radar in redraft. This is like worst case scenario landing spot here for Mike Washington, other than Arizona.
And what I was saying about Emmett Johnson, like, I know it's kind of similar situations, Emmett Johnson and Mike Washington. The difference is Kenneth Walker is hurt every year for a little bit. Like Ashton Genty, I know we've only had 1 year in the NFL, but like he profiles a dude that's going to stay healthy. A Bijan Robinson level. He's a monster. He's 230 pounds. So like Genty is not likely to go down in my mind.
No, not at all. This does nothing to affect Ashton Genty. In fact, the fact that they didn't draft somebody early. I mean, the Raiders were very clear that Genty is the lead back anyway. So I don't think there was going to be any indication that they'd be drafting somebody early. This I was hoping it'd be a different running back, and that Mike Washington had a path to maybe carving out a role, to being to even challenging for the lead role. Like Tennessee would have been a great spot. Now Nick Singleton going to Tennessee, that's a great spot. That's a guy who by midseason can actually earn his way into substantial playing time, even becoming, the 1A and a 1B, 1A and a 1A, 1B situation.
Thinking about it, I think Mike Washington actually makes me like Genty more, and I'll tell you why. So when I take a running back in the first round, early second round, what I do like is to be able to have, a discount on their handcuff and a guy that I know is going to be their handcuff that can do well. For instance, Devin Achane's a guy you can't really handcuff. Like you're not, what's the point of taking Ollie Gordon? He might be relevant, but like he's never going to give you even 70% of Achane. Or like Mike Washington could give you 70% of Ashton Genty. And sometimes I use that as a tiebreaker with my running back selections. Like if I know I can back him up, it's not like a Tyler Algier level pick, like 10th, 11th round. Mike Washington will be a 14th round pick in redraft. So you see what I'm talking about? Like it's kind of a nice bonus to have, to know you can get the Raiders backfield for really cheap.
Yeah, I mean, undrafted. I'd be floored if because we're talking 15, 16, maybe 17 rounds in most redraft. I mean, other than deep leagues, he's not going to be drafted. He's off the radar completely. A 4th round pick who didn't have a ton of college production, older prospect behind Ashton Genty, who came on towards the second half of the year. I highly doubt that he's being drafted in most 15, 16 round leagues. I do like him as a backup. I think we're both like Mike Washington. I mean, I have to knock him down my running back ranks. It's just the name of the game when it comes to, fourth round pick. That's compared to where other running backs are being drafted. Like Jonah Coleman went barely before him in this draft, right? He went to a good situation though. Like there's tons of opportunity, tons of runway there for Jonah Coleman to take over the lead back role in Denver.
You remember my comp for Jonah Coleman was Mark Ingram, and that's Sean Payton. Sean Payton loved Mark Ingram, and he's going to have a role there because J.K. Dobbins, has been playing the banger role, but we all know J.K. Dobbins he's kind of a hybrid between a banger and an early down guy. He's not a great goal line running back, and Jonah Coleman is that. If you could say one thing about Jonah Coleman is that he is very sturdy and he's going to get the short yardage work. He can earn that work, and this is just a nice security blanket for the J.K. Dobbins impending injury that happens every single year.
That's the other thing too. J.K. Dobbins is not exactly the pillar of health. So for Jonah Coleman, who's a well-rounded back, you got to figure though that the issue becomes Sean Payton is known for using multiple backs, and they don't even have necessarily like roles specifically. Now Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, they were a dynamic duo, but even then, like Kamara got a significant amount of run. So it's not like Coleman's going to be the early down back and then RJ Harvey or Dobbins going to be the early down back and then Coleman's the change of pace and then Harvey. We don't know what this backfield is actually going to look like. It could be a mess for fantasy, just the way that Sean Payton runs his running back room.
What are the Raiders doing? Because they've taken a lot of defense, which I don't hate. They took a backup running back when they have Ashton Jeanty, who they took a top 7 pick on. They haven't drafted a pass catcher. I mean, we're getting into the 5th round. You're going to have a rookie wide quarterback, presumably early in the season, maybe even from day one. And you're stuck with Trey Tucker and Dante Thornton and Jack Bash. Maybe they love Jack Bash, right? Is that the case? Because I don't understand why they haven't taken one of these guys. Now, maybe they get Deion Burks in the later rounds, but Deion Burks is so similar to Trey Tucker. Like they need a bigger bodied guy that's not named Dante Thornton.
2 picks later, Skylar Bell goes to the Bills. Outstanding landing spot. Really good landing spot. Why wouldn't the Raiders just have jumped on him right there? Skylar Bell it looks like he dropped quite a bit here. I'm very surprised that they have not taken a single pass catcher in this draft. I don't.
And there's still guys, Storey, because of all the reaching at wide receiver. There's still guys. I can give you a couple names here. CJ Daniels, I feel like is a nice contested catch guy, but like we're really going deep here on these wide receivers that are available.
Dude, guys are so obviously we've heard of Reggie Virgil, but they're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. There's guys being drafted that I've literally never heard of before, especially at tight end, but also at wide receiver, right? Like Surratt going to the Ravens, that was a nice landing spot, but Caden Wetjen, I've heard of that guy exactly once in my life before today. And it was because I watched every Iowa game because the guys that I hang with, they're all Iowa grads, they're all Iowa fans. Caden Wetjen, his name came up once, and he goes to Pittsburgh. I have no idea why this guy, 5'9", 193, like a white guy. I don't even know how fast he is. 4.47 it looks like. I don't know anything about him. Like,
yeah, that's not good. And you watch a lot of Iowa, and you know everything about college football.
I watched almost every Iowa game, and I've never heard of this. So, like, and then Matthew Hibner from SMU. Never heard of that guy before, right? That's a tight end that the Ravens took. So.
And Michael Trigg's available, man. Michael Trigg's perfect for that Isaiah Likely role.
Yeah. Justin Jolly went, so there you go. But then a second Michigan tight end goes to Max Bredesen from Michigan went to the Vikings before Tanner Kozile. Somebody
Kozile has 100 receptions under his belt in a college season. I don't care what school it was for. Andre says that landing spot for Jonah Coleman, bro, while my Harvey stock is cooked. See, I don't see it like that at all. This just makes me soften even more than I already was on J.K. Dobbins. I'm not worried about this. Is fine for RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey is going to be the big play back, the third down back, and the 50% timeshare back. So if essentially it's, in my mind, 50% RJ Harvey and then 50% J.K. Dobbins / Jonah Coleman. Would you agree with that?
I'm with Andre, man. I'm not thrilled with RJ or with RJ Harvey and what his prospects look like. This muddies a ton of things for me. We're going to see one thing in training camp. I'm going to see another thing by week 4. This is just it's a weird running back rotation that he likes to, so until if and when Dobbins gets hurt, this is going to be a 3-man timeshare. I think I'm out on all 3 of these guys.
I would agree with you if they drafted Jonah Coleman in the 3rd round or the 2nd round, or they took Mike Washington. This is a 4th round pick, so it's depth. I see it as depth. I don't see it as it's the death blow for J.K. Dobbins. But if anything, I'm going to like RJ Harvey more because in redraft he was the 5th, 6th round guy. Now what is he going to follow the 7th? Like, I'm fine with that. I love that. Like, give me the value there. I'm not reading into this too much. I don't like Jonah Coleman. I don't think he's that great. I just know he's a one.
I think we need to recalibrate what we think of 4th round picks in this year's draft, considering that how many running backs are drafted in days 1 and 2 this year.
I get it.
So we could agree to disagree on RJ Harvey, but until proven otherwise, I'm going to stay away from that backfield altogether.
So yeah, Denzel Boston would have been great to the Raiders, and then our boy Skylar Bell, which one of my main comps was Stephon Diggs. So the Bills got their versatile wide receiver, and this is pretty much spells the end for Keon Coleman. And I know like he's not going to take Keon Coleman's ex receiver job, but they still have Josh Palmer, who's going to be on the field. And yeah, so Skylar Bell, what do you think about the landing spot? It's not going to be an initial, a great initial production, but he can carve out a role. We know how good Skylar Bell is.
Well, first of all, I just realized, let me apologize for my appearance. I haven't showered yet today. I was up till 5 a.m. Reading about the draft, and then I woke up at 8:30 to continue getting ready for the draft. So I have yet to shower today, but I got people coming over tonight, so I'll probably have to shower at some point.
You look great.
Thanks. In any event, Skylar Bell, the Bills are kind of addicted to these sub 6 foot or exactly 6 foot wide receivers who are in that 190 to 200 range, and Skylar Bell fits into that mold perfectly. It's not an immediate fantasy impact. But he has every opportunity to kind of take over that Keon Coleman role. I think they're going to give Coleman enough rope to hang himself again this year, and he proved that he does not really want to play in this league. It seems like the fact that he was a game day inactive for multiple games last year, even after he was a game day inactive after a really productive game, leads me to believe that Skylar Bell could take over that slot flanker role by the end of the year. But he's not draftable in redraft. You're going to be hanging on to him for the first 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and be like, when's it going to happen? It's not going to happen until the end of the year.
You're right. The Bills do love those little small guys. Curtis Samuel, they love that mold. Elijah Moore, but the difference is Skylar Bell is not like these guys in terms of play style. He is a smaller guy, but he's much more Stephon Diggs and much more versatile. He can go downfield and win downfield. So I do like the landing spot for Dynasty more than I like it for redraft. He's a guy just to keep an eye on if you get a DJ Moore injury. Also, if the tight ends go down again, like usual, they'll play more, 3 wide receiver sets. I think there's a good chance by midseason he is their 3rd receiver, and that's a pretty valuable role. And also here's the nice thing is if Khalil Shakir goes down, I think he can step right into that very valuable slot role. So this is why we love Skylar Bell coming out, because he wasn't just pigeonholed into playing one specific wide receiver position. So Joe Royer goes 170 to the Browns. The Browns had so many picks in this draft. Did you see the 4th round or 5th round run? It was a 5th round run. They had, I think they traded back again in the 5th round. They had a million picks today.
Yeah, they took Justin Jefferson. And the only reason I knew who this guy was because his name was Justin Jefferson. He's a linebacker from Alabama. They just took Joel Royer. Rylan Nowakowski went to Pittsburgh just before. They love running multiple tight end sets. God, it feels like the league is going 2-3 tight end sets as a base standard now, right? Like I was reading up about
copycat league story. It's Sean McVay. That everyone respects Sean McVay, right? And just like everyone respects Kyle Shanahan. And you don't respect either of these guys, but the fact that they did it with bad tight ends, essentially Kobe Parkinson and Tyler Higbee and a rookie in Ferguson, and it was successful. The difference is they're not Sean McVay and they don't have Puka and Devontae Adams to make this work. But yeah, every team is just the tight ends. Like compared to running backs, where the running backs have been going, like tight ends. How many tight ends have been drafted so far? Like fucking 15. And then like some of the better ones are like Michael Trigg. Again, that kid is back in the escalator. Michael Trigg is still available.
Yeah, Michael Trigg's available. I actually looked this up last night because I was curious because the Nate Borkercher drafts, I think, was pretty surprising to everybody. I looked it up. He actually was on my fantasy team last year, and he was in my starting lineup for 1 week last year.
I didn't see this. Kendrick
Law.
Law.
Yeah.
For the Lions. That's a replacement for the return guy. That's the replacement in that role.
I'm gonna show you this real quick here. Look at this. Can you see that? He scored me 2 points. Nate Borkercher scored me 2 points at fantasy.
I see it. That's gross.
That is gross. That's how gross fantasy tight end is. Yeah, no, Kendrick Law. I mentioned him last night out of Kentucky. Dane Key was the primary wide receiving target there, but Kendrick Law had a fairly decent year last year. Kentucky didn't throw the ball a ton. They had Seth McGowan last year. I can't even remember who the quarterback was, but it's a nice landing spot for dynasty. He's completely off the radar for redraft, but for dynasty, your next wave of guys, your Isaac TeSlaws, your Kendrick Laws, I think there's good opportunity there in the long term. He's a taxi squad guy though. This is not somebody that is going to make an immediate or even an impact in the next 2 years.
Brennan Thompson, your boy, 105 early in the 4th round to the Chargers, and this is just another speed merchant. Does this affect anything for a guy like Trey Harris? I think this kind of signals that Keenan Allen's not coming back.
No, it's pretty clear that Keenan Allen's not coming back. That is a 105 was higher than I was expecting for him. So I think that's surprising in and of itself. I'm excited about that. I'm excited for this. Actually changes my I'm moving Justin Herbert up a tier because of this. Gives him more weapons. I'm excited for Trey Harris. I'm getting more excited for the Chargers day by day. We mentioned this on the Gems show. It's not a he's you mentioned slot guy, speed merchant, downfield guy. So for best ball, he'll have a week here and there, but it's going to take an injury for him to be relevant for most of the year this year.
Dakota says Browns continue to finish top 3 in drafts. I mean, they better though, because they have a million picks every year. But I don't hate what they're doing. I like the Joe Royer pick too. Honestly, he's a nice compliment to what they have in Harold Fannin. He's a yak guy and a pretty good blocker.
Did I have Joe Royer on my list? I can't remember.
You did. He was your number 7, I think.
Oh, there you go. So the Browns and I are in lockstep.
Did you? And by the way, Taylon Green is still available. Your boy Nussmeier is still available. So I'm really curious to see where Taylon Green. He has to get drafted here in the next 5-10 picks, right? It's just the upside and the measurables and the. I mean, Anthony Richardson was a top 5 pick, guys. What are we doing with Taylon Green?
You talk about upsides. We talked about him last night. Again, Gerard McCoy got drafted first pick in the 4th round. Good for him. That whole situation was wild. I kind of went down a rabbit hole reading about his injury last night. It boils down to he's got a bone plug, and the next surgery that he has is almost guaranteed. And if it doesn't take, that's pretty much it for his career. So it's got to take. And if it doesn't, he's done. So you're basically drafting a guy that you're 50-50 shot that he actually plays for you at some point. So it makes sense.
When is the surgery taking place? Is it when he has it, or is he going to have it before the year?
There's no guarantee that the surgery will take place. It's a matter of getting additional opinions to see if he needs it. So it's
a very high risk, high reward type pick.
High risk.
It might be a 0. It might be a Pro Bowler.
But yeah, that's just it. Like we don't know. So the Raiders taking a shot at him. Like I like it. Geez,
except for the fact that could have taken
Lorenzo Styles goes to the Saints. Good God, that guy dropped.
Speaking of the Saints, they took Bryce Lance, your boy.
Yeah, that's exciting.
This is great for Tyler Shuck. Great for Tyler Shuck.
Obviously, they drafted Mekhi Lemon in the 1st round, so it's not like there's an
Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson
in the 1st round. So it's not like there's an immediate opportunity, but this could be an attrition play. Bryce Lance was a guy that I'm high on. 4th round draft capital is good, not great. I would have rather seen him in the 3rd, but the way this draft is going with skill position players, I don't think I can complain about 4th and 5th round picks this year. This is a heavy offensive line, defensive back, defensive edge kind of draft.
And tight end.
And tight end for some reason.
Just not running backs or wide receivers or quarterbacks.
For some reason
you care about.
2 Ohio State tight ends and 2 Michigan tight ends get drafted before Michael Trigg. Like an absolute chain moving, pass catching monster of a tight end. We're now in the late 5th round, and he's not even being sniffed at.
There's definitely some personality issues with Michael Trigg. Not so much off the field, but there was some unwillingness to block, some body language shit with Michael Trigg I saw when I watched full game highlights. So I think maybe that's what's depressing his value. Did you see this interview with speaking of the Rams, the call with Sean McVay and Simpson was hilarious. McVay was pissed. Ty said, "Let's go make history, coach." And McVay was like, "Yeah, no."
Oh, I didn't see this video.
This is great. This is great. You know what? It becomes more clear every hour that he hates this pick and he is just pissed at this draft. And the thing is, they could still win the Super Bowl, Story, because they had enough in place. But they still had the 13th pick. They had enough. You expect the Rams never have draft capital. They trade away everyone. And they trade for veterans.
They were 5 points away from making the Super Bowl this past year. So, let me listen to this video right here.
I'm gonna pass you.
Story's gonna listen to the video. He's gonna report back. I'm gonna play a clip while you do that.
Hey, shit! But I told my wife I wouldn't drink tonight. Besides, I got a big day tomorrow.
It's a big day. You doing what?
Well, actually, pretty nice little Saturday. We're gonna go to Home Depot. Yeah, buy some wallpaper, maybe get some flooring, maybe Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know. I don't know if we'll have enough time.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, man. Well, congratulations, man. Excited to get to work with you. It's gonna be a lot of fun, buddy.
Pretty chill there.
History, coach.
Yeah. No, and
this is the Sean McVay interview, guys.
Have fun. Tell your family we're excited to meet him. And
not great.
Oh my God.
What was his face like? Was it a frown face?
No, it was like a shit-eating grin on his face. So he was smiling on there. But Sean McVay is such a character. He's wearing a T-shirt and chinos, like everybody else is wearing Rams gear or suits and ties, and he's wearing that whole organization. Like everybody's wearing sweaters or sweatshirts. It's weird, but not ideal. I mean, man. I think he's pissed.
They're set up for 2028, maybe.
I don't think he expects to be there in 2028. That's wild.
Elijah Surratt, Ravens, pick 115, Story. It's a really great pick by the Ravens, but for fantasy, this is another one of these guys that he might catch 6 touchdowns just based on the fact playing with Lamar and every other year he throws 36 touchdowns. But volume, you got to deal with Rashad Bateman, and at least you don't have an elite second tight end to deal with. But what do you think about this spot for Surratt?
There's again, he's off the fantasy radar this year. There's just no opportunity. Like where is the fantasy production going to come from? Probably a decent dynasty stash, but I cannot believe I guess the Raiders really wanted to get like what they consider to be a difference making cornerback in McCoy. But man, like where did Surratt go? How far down did he go? He went to, would you say
13? Let's see now. 15th pick of the 4th round. So
I thought that they were going to give Mendoza a little comfort, get him a guy that he played in college with, but apparently not. There's just he's got sure hands, so he'll get the field. He'll hit the field eventually. I like the size, right? We talked about the size, but where's the production going to come from in year one? I just doesn't seem like it exists.
Hey, speaking of, I just mentioned that Baltimore doesn't have a second tight end. They just drafted Josh Cuevas out of Alabama.
So, yeah.
He's a pretty good prospect, right? Like an athletic dude.
He was decent. Yeah, he actually had fairly decent production at Alabama last year, and they're not ones that actually use the tight end in the scheme all that much. So him going, they're looking. I think they're looking for the Isaiah Likely of the future. This guy's a nice pass catching option for them. Pass catching tight end.
Michael Trigg still available. That's going to be a running joke for this. We're going to do about an hour here, guys. I got some people coming over. We will be on tonight with Big Ray and then Superfan Dakota, our boy, doing a recap of the draft. Mike Story is also having people over, so have a good time with that. So why didn't Baltimore take Taylor Green? Doesn't that make sense to take Taylor Green? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, if you were looking for a similar archetype, he's much bigger than Lamar Jackson. But in terms of like the dual ability, there's not a better guy in this draft class. I mean, maybe they think they can get him in the 6th round because he is. I mean, a lot of these quarterbacks are dropping here, right?
well, we have the Ravens on the clock right now again.
Well, they
Josh
are on the clock,
Cuevas,
yeah.
they're back to back. I don't know. They must have traded up, so they're up.
No,
They're up
this
at 34.
this has got to be a
174.
compensatory pick. I would think.
Okay. Yeah. And then we have the Raiders on the clock next after the Ravens. This should be a wide receiver, right? This has to be a wide receiver.
The Ravens just drafted Adam Randall out of Clemson.
My guy?
Yeah.
Okay. This is awesome. This is Derrick Henry's fucking backup, although Derrick Henry never gets hurt.
No.
Hey, we love this. I love this. I love this pick. You don't like it?
It's fine.
Adam Randall's great.
Derrick Henry never gets hurt. So, and they have guys on the roster there they do seem to like, or at least Harbaugh liked. So maybe we'll see some things change. Yeah, backup role, but they still have Keaton Mitchell there. Like, so I'm not sure what they're doing with this one.
For the record, Adam Randall drafted ahead of Katron Allen, who I had Adam Randall ahead of Katron Allen. I was the highest in the world in Adam Randall. I think I had him 6th overall in my running backs, and that's, you know what? Taking victory lap, Storey.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine landing spot. It's going to be a while, and that is the theme of this year's draft class. Is it's going to be a while. So I hope you traded away your 26 dynasty picks for 27 dynasty picks.
Oh, and I think we were already telling people to do that anyway because the quality of the class next year, not just quarterbacks, but skill position players. And this year was a little light on that. But like even we didn't imagine this level of fuckery going on because this is rough. Man.
This is horrendous. This is absolutely horrendous. And I think we're going to see continuing to trend down offensive production, passing production, scoring. Right, quarterback scoring, wide receiver 2 scoring. You're probably going to see wide receiver 1 stay the same, but just based on the way the teams look like they're constructing things, I think you're going to see a lot of grinding, a lot of 2-yard runs this year in the NFL. A lot of teams forgetting about that too high safety look and saying we're not even going to bother with it. We're just going to run the ball and we're going to punt it every other down and we're just going to grind games out. That's what I'm worried about.
Blake, we weren't counting the kid at SMU for the Ravens as an actual tight end because we don't know who the hell he is. So
I've never heard of the guy.
Count him.
Yeah, never heard of the guy.
Hey, Junk Buster? What's up, Junk? What are the Vikings doing? Because they passed on Emmett Johnson, who I said would have been a great fit there. He would have been a dual handcuff. He could play the early downs. He could cover for Aaron Jones for the passing downs. And they're just going to go into the season with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. That's it.
I can't believe they haven't bolstered this running back room at all. Jordan Mason proved that he's not efficient outside of that 49ers system. I was way down on him last year. I didn't like the transition over to Minnesota. And Aaron Jones cannot stay healthy to save their lives. So I don't know what they're doing. If they're waiting for who's out there, like who's a free agent right now in the running back world. Maybe they're waiting for somebody to get desperate enough they can sign for cheap.
Who do they? So yeah, they drafted at 159. The Vikings drafted Max Bredesen, a fullback. They don't run a fullback. Like Kevin O'Connell isn't no. I mean, I guess they had Oliver playing that role. They don't. That's not like they're not the Ravens. They're not the 49ers. Like fullback's not a big part of this offense. And Kyler Murray doesn't play under center. So why are you drafting a fullback if your quarterback is incapable of taking snaps under center? Maybe even the pistol, there's no fullback in there. There's some, you could do some exotic formations, but when you do exotic formations, Story, usually you put a tight end in the backfield, or Justin Jefferson in the backfield. Like what Vikings, man, it's been a head scratching draft all around for the Vikings. I don't know what they're doing.
How excited would you have been for Emmett Johnson if they had drafted him at 159 instead of drafting Max Bredesen?
Dude, I'd be excited for him. I'd be excited for the Vikings. We're Bears fans, but like in general, I would be optimistic about that pick. And like, as much as we love the Kyler Murray signing because it's free and it's a giant upgrade over JJ McCarthy, like all these other moves don't make sense. They're reaches, they're players we don't know. And again, it's hard to evaluate this stuff right now. This is kind of, I'm not saying we're overreacting because it seems like we're properly reacting to what they're doing and they're just passing up. Like they could have taken another weapon for Kyler Murray. They could have taken an elite tight end, like someone, because right now they have TJ Hawkinson, who's cooked. They're taking fullbacks. This is wild, dude.
I mean, does it make you think that maybe they're going to, that Kyler Murray might not be the presumed starter and that they're going to try to make JJ McCarthy work? I mean, they're only paying the league veteran minimum for Kyler Murray. What's the difference? Nice backup piece to have. I don't know. Maybe they're going to give McCarthy another run.
The reason that they're not going to start JJ McCarthy in my mind is the Carson Wentz signing. Like that, what that signaled to me was that Carson Wentz, they brought him in to be the backup to Kyler Murray because they don't even trust JJ McCarthy to be the backup store. Why would they bring him in if Kyler Murray is your backup? Do you need a third string quarterback? I don't think so. And Carson Wentz is not exactly beloved by his teammates. Story, like he's not had a good track record with teammates and organizations. So I don't know what the hell they're doing. This is weird. Do the Ravens make a pick? They took a cornerback. The Raiders have like a million guys in the secondary now. They drafted like 4 people in the secondary.
They also took a cornerback from like statistically one of the worst defenses in college football last year.
Right. So they've taken 3 or 4 defensive backs already and zero pass catchers. So, I mean,
yeah.
What are they going to convert one of these guys to wide receiver? I don't understand.
I don't know, man. I'm getting less enamored with Clint Kubiak by the minute.
You know what? This is the spot right here. The Chiefs are going to take Deion Burks. I'm calling it right now. Pick 176. Deion Burks is available. It's Andy Reid's type of guy. And at this point, 176. They addressed the defense already. They addressed the O-line a little bit. And now it's time to take a playmaker and possibly unseat Xavier Worthy. Also, the Dolphins on the clock at 177. Next pick after that. They could take Deion Burks. So I would say Deion Burks is gone in one of the next 2 picks. What are the chances that happens, Story?
Well, the Chiefs just took Cyrus Allen. So that leaves Deion Burks available there for the Dolphins right after this.
Dolphins also have pick 40. None of these other teams really need receivers. Eagles, no. Niners, no. Bills, no. So that's the end off this round.
You forget how many draft picks get traded in rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? Like more than half of these picks, significantly more than half of these picks, like 2/3 of these picks are just traded from other teams. There's some compensatory picks in here, but man, these guys are like, these teams trade 4th round picks, 5th round picks, like they're trading, baseball cards.
We have a lot of Vikings fans in here. Junkbuster and Wally is in here. I'm sure Wally wants to say hello to you. He's not sure what's going on with the Vikings. He says, trust the process, I guess, ? I'm Ron Burgundy.
I've been told, you go online and it's like, how dare you question this GM who's been in the job for a year? How dare you question this GM who's made questionable decisions every single year that he's been in the job? How dare you go apply for the Bears GM job? You go apply for we're not allowed to question their decisions. These guys are human. They're fallible. These guys don't make mistakes. Like their process, trust the process. What if the process is bad? What if these guys are just idiots? Like, trust their process? Why is their process proven better than anybody? Like, why am I trusting every GM's process when some of these GMs have been kicked around the league?
Story, Mike Ditka is held very high in NFL camps. And Mike Ditka literally traded an entire draft for a running back that was a pothead. And I know like his claim to fame was a Hall of Fame tight end, and then what he did with the Bears, even though I'll tell everyone it was Buddy Ryan. It was not, Mike Ditka had a hand in it, but you still see all the Bears fans wearing the fucking sweater vests and the mustache. So and as much as you hate coaches, I think you might hate GMs more. It's right there.
I just think that we're holding GMs to this elite standard. Like these guys make no mistakes. And it's very clear, like these guys, sometimes they're throwing darts at a wall. So why are we as fans, so that's the old school boomer mentality. Like if you're a fan of this team, you don't question the GM, you don't question the coach. These guys know what they're doing. You let them do their thing. And then when the Vikings are 7-10 this year and people are like, what happened? Well, go back to the draft. Things are getting ugly here. Like, we're supposed to be like, well, let the GM do his thing, and we'll reconvene in December and see where things are at then. Why? Why are we as fans? We need to hold these guys accountable from the get-go. And when they make stupid decisions, like drafting an H-back fullback, like H-back tight end, 2 picks before a monster producer in Emmett Johnson, you can get pissed.
Hey, you said something nice about Emmett Johnson. So we got a little story rant there of what grinds his gears. We know GMs. He hates GMs.
I hate the way you talk to me and the way you cut your hair. I hate the way you drive my car. I hate it when you stare. I hate your big dumb combat boots and the way you read my mind. I hate you so much it makes me sick. It even makes me rhyme.
Yeah. So is Brzezinski making the personnel decisions there since Kwame or Quadolfo or whatever his name left for the 49ers? I don't know who's actually making the calls there in Minnesota anymore.
It's not Kevin O'Connell, because I don't think he would have endorsed that. I respect Kevin O'Connell, but you know what? He's a good offensive mind. I don't think he's a good GM.
Wally, let us know who's making the picks there. It's not O'Connell. So is it their VP or is they don't? I don't know if they hired a GM. I have no idea.
See, we got Mouth in here. What's up, boys? I'm on and off watching. This draft is insane. It is insane. And Dakota says, what grinds my gears with Mike Storey? Can't believe that. And this is a good call from Wally. I believe this might be a Brian Flores draft. Selected 5 to 6 defensive picks out of 7 within the first 2 days. I'm a little behind on my draft ticker, so let me know who the Dolphins take here.
They just picked up. Actually, I'm not opposed to this whatsoever. Kevin Coleman out of Mizzou.
Hey, slot merchant, right?
Okay. Yeah, we have a guy, tiny, 180, 5'10-ish. This guy, though, like, they finally drafted a decent pass catcher. And as we know, there's opportunity. There is a ton of – somebody's got to catch the ball there. It's going to be a bad offense, but somebody has to catch the ball. And if if Malik Willis decides to do a lot of underneath stuff, Kevin Coleman could have a halfway decent year. Like, at least for Dynasty, he's a decent stash.
Where's Deion Burks? Like, I mean, again, are we like going full circle here and like punishing? I mean, Brennan Thompson already went, and like these guys that run in the 4.3s always get drafted in the 4th round or earlier. Right. And this is a guy that had a better production profile than most of these guys that have been drafted, and now he's still available. So what did he do? Did he kill a cat or something?
Oh man, I hope not. That'd be me. That'd be stinky.
Well, I don't like cats, so you don't fuck with dogs. Like Henry Ruggs, that's the worst thing about Henry Ruggs is not only did he kill that poor woman, he killed that poor woman's dog, and they burned alive. And hey, you know what? He might be coming back to the league, man.
Henry Ruggs. I think he's eligible for parole later this year, which is wild when you think about it. Like, ended a woman's life, and now he could be. I don't think he'll play again. That would be insane. Anyway,
So Peasy wants to know if we like Malik Washington. I'm more of a Jalen Tolbert guy. We talked about this last night, and this is rough for Malik Washington because Chris Bell, although I think his career might end up being an X receiver in the NFL, he only played slot receiver at Louisville. And you just said that the kid from Missouri, Coleman, he's strictly a slot receiver. So Malik Washington, this hurts his stock, correct?
Yeah, I think so. I was excited about Malik Washington. Did we talk about him last night? I think we did, right?
Yeah, we said Jalen. I made the bold statement that Jalen Tolbert might be top 10 in the NFL in routes run this year.
This is good for Jalen Tolbert. I still like Jalen Tolbert. It's not good for Malik Washington.
Yeah, I've got quite a bit of Jalen Tolbert in best ball in my last pick, and this is like they don't have an X receiver now. They don't, so he's the X receiver.
Yeah, it's good for Malik Willis too. Finally getting some pass catchers, right?
Yeah, we forgot. Yeah, CJ Daniels is out there, Deion Burks and Malik Benson. We're not fans of Malik Benson, but CJ Daniels is a X receiver, and Deion Burks is he's lightning, man. So those two guys. I think the first two guys he highlighted, I do really like. At least at this point. I mean, Deion Burks should have been a 3rd round pick, and CJ Daniels, this is a money spot for him for a contested catch guy. Now, if the Dolphins take CJ Daniels, maybe we'll be a little bit cooler on Jalen Tolbert. But
don't forget that the Dolphins have a pick near the end of this draft as well. Although, man, the Eagles do like their speedsters too. So maybe the Eagles. No, they just took Colt Payton. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
I think Storey called that. Or sorry, I think Mouth called that.
Did he?
Payton to the Eagles. Yeah, because that's it's a nice backup. It's a nice comp to Jalen Hurts in terms of
Jalen Hurts. Yeah.
Cole Payton just went, Mouth. Cole Payton just went, but Taylon Green's available, and that would have been a good pick too. I think both those guys to the Eagles would have been a good pick. Where's our projected landing spot for Taylon Green? Let's try to guess this real quick because it's not going to be the Niners. It could be the Dolphins. Because they have Malik.
He could be
right?
Buffalo, right? Like nice
I'm
backup
gonna look
quarterback
at the
there for
board
Josh
here.
Allen. Similar skill, similar body style, similar play style.
Oh, I got it. There's two options right here at the top of the 6th round: the Browns and the Cardinals.
God, if the Browns draft another quarterback in this draft,
And the Giants. And the Giants, man. Or
I
the
don't think
Commanders.
I think the Giants are all in on Dart just based on the way this draft is going.
But Jackson Dart can't stay healthy. He runs into brick walls.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
get it.
mean?
Trying to see who. Oh, the Giants have a ton of picks at the top of the 6th round here.
It needs to be a team that either has nobody, which the Cardinals and Browns have nobody, or a team that has a rush first quarterback. And the Commanders definitely have that with Jaden Daniels, who also can't stay healthy. And the Giants have Jackson Dart, who is the guy we think is the guy. I'm not going to say he is for sure. I do like Jackson Dart. But again, injuries, man. How many concussions were not even reported last year? He had Brian Daboll's grabbing him from the tents, you know, like
Brian
he definitely
Dable
had a concussion that game.
He yanked him out of the blue tent last year. Man, that'd be nice to see Taylor Green go to the Giants, but he could compete. I think he could compete with Jackson Dart. That'd be interesting to see.
Peasy said the Colts. That would be great. We're just gonna take. You know what? We whiffed on Richardson. Let's take Taylor Green. This one might even work out. I wouldn't hate it because it's one of those things where if you make a mistake once, like I know you don't want to make the same mistake twice, but this wouldn't be the same mistake because it'd be a 6th round pick instead of a top 6 pick, right?
Right. 6th round pick is fine for a flyer on Taylor Green, right? And that's where we're at.
Talent.
Right? We're close to it.
Telling you, I said it before, man. Taylor Green needs to fucking sue Anthony Richardson, and the fact that now this is even worse. We thought he'd be a 4th round pick, right? That's where we projected him to go. Yeah. We're going into the 6th round, and Taylor Green's still available, and Nussmeier's still available.
God, I feel like I barely heard the Colts called this week, but they have been heavy on the defensive side of things. They've been investing heavily in on the defense. So
Storey, it's because the Colts didn't really have any picks because they made really silly trades. The Sauce Gardner trade is going to haunt them for years and years to come.
Yeah, teams do that.
Yeah, well, see, the good teams can afford to do that, like the Eagles and Niners and Rams. Bad teams like the Colts can't afford to do that because they need more swings at it. Because when they do get draft picks, they whiff on them more likely. Where a team like the Rams, they can succeed in the 3rd and 4th round. The Eagles always make it work. And Grenard, we didn't talk about the Grenard trade and the contract to the Eagles. What do you think about that? 4 years, $100 million, I believe, 25 a year. 3rd round pick.
I mean, it seems reasonable, right? Like that amount of money is about what you could expect for that level of production. 4 years though, that was a little. I would have thought like 3 years with a 4th option. But how much is guaranteed? Do you know offhand?
No, but I just saw the 3rd round cat, which we were a lot of people are throwing around 2nd round pick. I didn't believe that, but 3rd round's fine when you factor in the contract. But the Eagles are just. Man, what a good franchise. And I just want to say this to all Eagles fans that just suck off Jalen Hurts. Like, suck off Howie Roseman. He's the real winner and champion. Not the coach sucks, but Howie Roseman just gets talent and finds cheap, good options and then drafts awesome blue chip players from blue chip colleges. And Jalen Hurts is just along for the ride, my guys. Did play really well in both Super Bowls. I'll give him that.
Well, I mean, he was the best player in both of those Super Bowls. I don't care what people say about the Chiefs one. I don't know. The other thing is like they gave up 2 picks this year.
Ooh. It was 2/3. 2/3 from the Eagles and $50 million guaranteed.
Yeah, it was a 3rd next year. That's where I have a little like the money seems about right. What you can expect for Jonathan Grenard. The issue I have with Roseman giving up a 2027 3rd round pick. I think next year's draft class is going to be much more valuable and giving up future picks. I guess it's a win now player, right? Like the guy has been in the league for 5 years, right? I think
he's 27.
Houston drafted him in 2020 or something like that. So yeah, I anytime like as this draft continues to go along, like the more I see people giving up 2027 picks, the more nervous I get. Like I get it. It's a win. It's definitely a win now pick. Yeah. I guess we'll see. Like, it's been a couple years since we made the Pro Bowl.
We have the Niners on the clock right now, and did they make a pick? Did you see the pick they made?
Yeah.
We have Dakota in here who's waiting on it.
Offensive tackle from Kansas, Enrique Cruz Jr. I don't know.
Give us a scouting report on Enrique Cruz Jr. Sounds like a Mexican pop singer, dude.
It does sound like a pop singer.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He can he can just sing us all to sleep, man.
When we get back to the world, you're gonna put together that 3-piece combo band we talked about. Me on stand-up bass, Johnny on the drums, and me tickling the ivories.
Is there any skill players we did not talk about for landing spots that have gone off today? Justin Jolie. Hey, Justin Jolie. Pretty good spot for him in Denver. So is Evan Ingram still going to be the thing there? Is he? So they're not. I was projecting them taking one tight end higher and releasing Evan Ingram. So it's going to be Evan Ingram and then Justin Jolie, who we like. Jolly, is it Jolie or Jolly? I've heard both ways.
I think it's Jolly, but we should ask him because he would know. That's a good landing spot.
Let's ask the counselor.
Yeah, he would know. And then
Julie.
he would pronounce it like Jalali or whatever. Joe Royer going to Cleveland is like, I know Harold Fannon's there, but they run a ton of two tight end sets. Like we saw with Njoku and Harold Fannon, and Njoku's gone. So I think Joe Royer has an opportunity there in Cleveland as well. They just keep collecting pass catchers there in Cleveland. This is a wild draft for them.
Yeah, they don't have a quarterback. But maybe they do with Shedeur Sanders. And thing is, if Watson is the guy this year, like they're not re-signing Watson. That's why it's like, why would they play Watson? Because like there's just no way with all the stuff we know that happened with all the capital they have to get him, with the fact he's been injured and booed from like when they were celebrating his injury, like you can't come back from that. And he's not long for that team. They can't cut him, right? It's the cap hit's too big. So they got to see what they have with Shedeur Sanders, but we just don't think. So Dakota's still talking about Watson's the guy. I gave you the reason that he's not the guy, though. It's because they have to see what they have in Shedeur. The thing is, Shedeur might suck for 5 weeks and they bench him, but
I mean, don't you
it's definitely not. It's not Dylan Gabriel.
I was going to say, don't you have to see what you have in Dylan Gabriel? You spent a two rounds higher pick on him than we did on.
We saw that was a bad pick. We saw Dylan Gabriel play. He was a worse version of Tua. This is bad Tua. I'm talking. A worse version of bad Tua is not good.
We've talked about basically every skill position player except for Colby Young. It doesn't move the needle whatsoever in Cincinnati there, but I think we've talked about everybody else relevant. It's a bad draft. I think that's just the Nate. It's a bad draft for fantasy football. That's the crux of it. I don't know why the Jaguars drafted Koziel. Like you had Brenton Strange, you drafted him relatively highly, and they drafted what's his name in the second round. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what the Jaguars are doing this draft.
I don't know what the Jaguars are doing, period, because letting go Devin Lloyd, like Etienne's fine. You got to let him go. You had Tootin, you got Chris Rodriguez, but they've gotten much worse from last year. And this is why one of my unders I liked was under 9.5 wins for the Jags. As much as I think that division's wide open, I like the Titans with being feisty. And I don't like the Colts either. I think the division is I think Houston might just walk away with this division. As much as we hate CJ Stroud, that defense is unreal, man.
They might walk away with it at 10-7. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
This is pretty mediocre. Unless Daniel Jones comes back full strength, this division could be pretty sad this year. I guess the upside is if you are hoping that either Tootin or Rodriguez becomes the guy there, you've got more hope. Now you got more opportunity or more expectation because they have not drafted anybody in the running game whatsoever.
It is really good for both those guys, and their stock will probably be up. Jeffrey says Nussmeier going undrafted. I didn't see that coming. I don't think he's going to be undrafted, but essentially like getting drafted in the 7th round, it's close to being undrafted.
Yeah, it's a rough one. Did we see? Yeah, we did see Cole Payton. So we saw one quarterback taken in round 5, which is oddly low. This is where you take stabs on those guys, right? Like, let's see what we have. Let's throw a 4th round pick. Kate Klubnik goes to the Jets. Okay, I mean, I guess we didn't talk about that. Kate Klubnik going to the Jets. There's a chance there that he could become the starter mid-season or late season.
Giants got receivers draft here. CJ Daniels would be fucking perfect. I think he meant CJ Daniels. He said
CJ Anderson.
You're
CJ
Hey, I
Anderson?
love CJ Anderson.
Ooh, okay. So the Dolphins, they drafted another pass catcher, but it's a tight end. It's Seydou Traore out of Mississippi State. He was fairly. He had his moments in at Mississippi State last year. He was on. He was.
Why
he was
not
on
Michael
offense
Trigg?
a lot.
Michael Trigg is like Darren Waller. Like that's the perfect fit. I mean,
Yeah, poor
just
bastard.
wild. Just wild. Dakota, guys, it's not rocket science. If your starting quarterback from last season is your guy, you don't open up a quarterback competition there, letting Sanders take first team reps because it's a competition. I think I'm not saying it's not a competition. I'm saying that I think they're similar players at this point, and Shedeur Sanders is just much younger. And like my biggest thing is that we know Deshaun Watson's not the quarterback of the future of Cleveland. He's too old. He's got too many injuries and all the other bullshit about the lawsuits, the draft picks they had. You know, he just has not worked out there, and they hate him, right? Like they're only keeping him because they cannot cut him. That's at least do you agree, Story, or am I wild?
What's his dead cap? Like
It's gotta be what Tua's was. It's gotta be right around that Tua range, right? Which
yeah,
Dolphins said we're
got
gonna do.
huge. Yeah, Watson contract. Sean Watson contract. I mean, yeah, they cannot cut. Now, I will say I agree with Dakota. Like when it came to like prime Deshaun Watson, the dude was borderline untouchable in fantasy football. Like he still has like of like when you count the total number, like minimum games played, he still has like the fourth best fantasy points per game that we've ever seen. So let's see his dead.
But that was before it was when he had an arm, before he had all the shoulder injuries. He can't throw, and also when he was mobile. Like he's neither of those things anymore. And he wasn't the savviest quarterback, right?
No, not exactly. But like scrambling wise, there's nobody there. 45 million cap hit if they were to cut him.
That's
today.
almost Tua. Tua was 50 something.
Yeah.
Dakota, I agree. Watson is better than Shedeur Sanders. We hate Shedeur Sanders, man.
Yeah, pre-6 release dead. He also carries a 131 million dead cap pre-6-1. So, and it drops to a whopping 129 post-6-1. So they cannot cut him. There is absolutely no way. Now, I think they can void out his I don't know. Yeah. God, he accounts for 15% of the Browns cap hit this year. That is absolutely insane.
Although one could say maybe they're more likely to start him because they're paying him, like Jerry Jones, like how he would operate, where he's like, well, I'm paying the guy. I'm paying Zeke, so I'm going to put Zeke on the field. Something like that.
Yeah. Also, he's got a no trade clause in his contract. So, yeah.
What's his clause for the team paying for all of his massages? Are they still comping those for him?
Was it him or was it Kyler Murray that they needed to assign like a tutor to or somebody to like keep him out of trouble?
Kyler Murray he had the clause for like the minimum hours he needed to watch film.
Okay.
That was the Kyler Murray clause. You know what's funny though? I was just thinking Deshaun Watson, like, you know how a massage is usually like $70 or something like that, $60 to $80.
Yeah.
He pays about $250 for a massage because he gives like a 300% tip, you know? So that's a red flag. If you're giving a masseuse 3 times the price of the massage, you know you had a happy ending, like or maybe an unhappy ending, but you had an ending, some kind of ending.
So is he? Can they void him next year, and can they get out from under this and send him off as a free agent?
I think this is the last year it's guaranteed. Again, okay. I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? So Jeffrey says the Cardinals went Beck over Nussmeier. Makes no sense. The pick made no sense. I get taking Beck over Nussmeier in a vacuum, but the fact that they're up in 2 picks with 183 and Nussmeier still available. I know it's like hindsight to say this, but I would much rather have Nussmeier in the 6th round. And I'm not a Nussmeier guy at all. I hate both these guys over the first pick in the 3rd round, like 3 rounds of value for essentially. I think Carson Beck might have higher upside than Nussmeier, but he definitely has more downside. Like Nussmeier profiles as a guy that's going to be in the league for a while. Like Carson Beck, would it surprise you if he's out of the league in 3 years?
No, it wouldn't. 4 years.
Nussmeier is going to be holding the clipboard for a long time, and he might be. Remember, I said my comp to Nussmeier was Chase Daniel.
Yeah,
that's Nussmeier. Chase Daniel. He's a coach.
Why not take a stab at him in the 6th round, right? Like create this quarterback competition behind Jacoby Brissett. Like you're going to need somebody for the future anyway. You might as well take a couple of bites at the apple and see if one of these guys pans out. Would you make your pick, Bills? Good God.
Well, we just saw the Browns do that last year with the crazy Dillon Gabriel pick in the 3rd round. And then they flopped him. And then they get the guy that should have gone in the 3rd round in the 5th round. So,
yeah, I like Carson Beck at the beginning of the 3rd. That's way too high for me. That I don't understand. I think you could have gotten him in the 4th round.
What do you think about this from Jonathan? Good call from Jonathan. Cole Payton to the Eagles might take the tush-push duties from Hurts to keep Hurts healthy, right? Like,
yeah,
because Cole Payton is a monster. He is Taysom Hill level athletic and strong. And that is going to be something we need to keep on our radar, because if there's no tush-push for Jalen Hurts, he is, where would you rank him in fantasy? You take the tush-push away. He's right now quarterback 7. Would he go quarterback 12?
Yeah, 11, 12. Like if there's no tush, man, oh man, he's at 7. I would have thought he'd be higher than that. That's kind of crazy to me. The guy gets, 12 rushing touchdowns a year. That's kind of wild.
Well, he only had 8 last year, Storey, and the tush push was faltering, and he doesn't look as athletic, so he's less likely to get those 8-yard rushing touchdowns. And they were all going to Dallas Goedert anyway. And it's the projection that AJ Brown's gone. So now now you have like a rookie in Lemon, you have Stowers, you have some weapons, but AJ Brown was a cheat code on that slant route, which Jalen Hurts was pretty good at throwing. So that's why Jalen Hurts is going 7. And you also got guys like Caleb Williams ahead of him, Jaden Daniels, who are just younger ascending players. I'm just saying what the perception is.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. It's interesting. That would be a wild turn of events. And that would absolutely, I think you're right. I think that would knock him down at least 3 spots.
Mouth here. Thank you, my dude. Prime is going to pay for Watson's. He's talking about Deion Sanders is going to pay for Watson's nighttime company and snow. Shador is going to be the starter, and Deshaun's going to party with with dad. Okay. That's a big bill, though. You got to pay for, he says snow, which we know what that is. I don't know if that's documented, but you know what he's going to do? He's going to get a lot of massages, and that tip, I told you, the tip is like 300%.
Taylor Green
just happened?
Taylor Green just went.
Taylor Green to Cleveland.
To the Browns.
Wow. I love that pick, though. I do love that pick.
God. Oh, my God. They are just like, all right, full-on quarterback competition.
So, hold on. So, are they going to cut Dillon Gabriel? Because right now they have Gabriel, they have Shador Sanders, they have Deshaun Watson, and they have Taylor Green. That is 4 quarterbacks deep for Cleveland. And you know the old saying, when you have 4 quarterbacks, you have 0? I think the saying is when you have 2 quarterbacks, you have 0. They have 4.
That's the saying, yes. And I fully subscribe to that. Taylor Green to the Browns, man. It'll be a camp battle between him and Dillon Gabriel. One of these guys is getting cut. It's easy to cut a 6th-round pick. So Taylor Green, by no means is he a lock to make the roster. But at this point, we saw what Dillon Gabriel is. He's no lock to make the roster either. This will come down to a complete, a camp battle for who the 3rd quarterback is.
Dude, watching Dillon Gabriel play last year, as much as I loved it because I had Fannin everywhere, and Fannin would have 7 or 8 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown. But, like, he has such happy feet. He can't throw the ball downfield. He can't throw the ball outside the numbers. And he just, like, panics in the pocket and checks it down. Like, that's all he does. And, like, those are 2 bad things. You're panicking and you're throwing a 2-yard little in route, little check down. It was rough, man. Andre says, how do we view the Browns receiving room, fellas? There's so many guys. Who do we even draft? So I think Jerry Jeudy is undraftable now. As much as I was kind of high on him in the 14th round of best ball drafts, undraftable now. Harold Fannin's the guy, although I think this kind of waters down. It's not going to water down Harold Fannin's routes, but it's just like last year he was the only guy, right? They phased out Njoku. They had Cedric Tillman was hurt. So like that was all on the back of him being the only target. And I love Harold Fannin. But now you have, an actual X receiver in Denzel Boston. You have a Swiss Army knife at Casey Concepcion. So how do you view these guys? And I think you're going to say you hate all of them.
Like there's no reason to draft any of these guys. This is going to be a complete wide receiver / tight end rotation. The one guy I'd feel comfortable with, it depends on his cost, would be Harold Fannin. But Joe Royer is there. He's gonna challenge him for snaps. Jerry Jeudy, Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion, Tylan Wallace, Cedric Tillman, Isaiah. They just drafted Isaiah Bond last year. Malachi Corley. Yeah, this is a very crowded wide receiver room, and I don't feel comfortable with any of these guys. Like you're going to take a stand on one guy, and it'll be wrong week 1, and then it'll be Concepcion pops off, and then week 2 comes around, and it'll be Denzel Boston, then it'll be Jerry Jeudy, then it'll be Jeudy again, then it'll be Boston, then it'll be Isaiah Bond. You will not be able to predict this. If you want to take some shots in best ball, I understand it, but from a redraft perspective, and even for right now in Dynasty, I think all these guys are off of my radar.
Dakota's taking mental notes of the flags we're planting on Watson. Well, it's opposite of the flag. We're burning the flags that people are planting.
We're definitely
and
not
I'm
planting
comfortable. And I'm comfortable going down with this ship that Deshaun Watson is not the guy. And I get the upside though. The last round of best ball, like Shedeur Sanders, even if he is a starter, like the numbers aren't going to be great. Like there's a chance if Watson does get the role, like Watson will be a top 20 fantasy quarterback. Like he will, just because he still has some juice in those legs. And now he has some pass catchers. It's such an unknown, but I get the upside in best ball. I would rather take Shedeur Sanders. I would rather take a guy I think is going to start the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. Although I get the appeal of Deshaun Watson, I understand where Dakota's coming from, and I already mentioned the statistic. But when it comes to who the organization wants to move forward with, I think they are ready to take their lumps on Watson, pay him the money, and show him the door. I don't think you got to work towards the future. Watson is not the future there. It's obviously Taylor Green.
So Mal says Dylan Gabriel is gone. It's Green versus Sanders for the starter. This is a good quote here. Dakota says Taylor Green is moving from quarterback or he will be cut. The issue is they now have Joe Royer as their second tight end. They have Fannin. They have all these receivers. So and they have Quinshon Judkins and Sampson. So what are they moving him to? Because they don't have any room to move him anywhere. And Taylor Green in the interview in the combine said adamantly, I'm not switching positions. Now, when you're a 6th round draft pick, you don't really have the clout to say, yeah, I'm a quarterback. But he is locked everywhere. Right? The quarterback room is not great, but there's a lot of them. The tight end room is pretty deep. The wide receiver room is not great, but there's a lot of them. So they're just taking best player available, maybe, and that he was the best player available.
You know what I worry about? And we haven't seen it really come to fruition too much, but we're starting to see more players take the tush push, right? So we saw Tyler Warren do it last year. We saw Mark Andrews do it last year. What if Taylor Green comes in and is like a Taysom Hill light for the Browns? They cut Dylan Gabriel. They keep Taysom Hill. He comes in on very special packages in the red zone. That would be horrible for Shedeur Sanders' fantasy value, and obviously it would mean that Taylor Green is just off the radar. I don't think they would move him to tight end officially, but he could come in certain packages and run the RPO, run read options, and yeah, it'd be bad for all fantasy there in Cleveland.
That's a good call because you recall all the Quinshon Judkins Wildcat formations they ran last year in the goal line.
Yeah.
So you still run that, but next to Quinshon Judkins, instead of having Sampson, you have Taylor Green, which can take that carry from Judkins, or you rotate the two, and you have some pretty unique formations because they do love taking Shedeur Sanders off the field at the goal line because they don't trust that kid. And I think I saw at least. No, and he also makes bad decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like running back 20 yards and taking a sack, fumbling, throwing picks. So this is a smart thing because I did notice this with Quinshon Judkins. Like he had 4 or 5 rushing touchdowns out of the Wildcat, which I do. That's why I love Judkins because it's one thing to be the running back in those goal line situations. They actually get the snap. Yeah, there's a chance he hands it off, but more times than not, there's a chance for a passing touchdown, the Derrick Henry, jump pass. And then you get that extra offensive lineman essentially on the field. And the success rate of punching that in is very high.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they end up playing this out. The Buccaneers just drafted Bauer Sharp out of LSU. Heir apparent to Cade Otton there.
Is that he's a Cade Otton light? But what Michael Trigg still available. That kid is back on the escalator again.
That kid is back on the escalator again. Remarkable. That's criminal. That kid is back on the escalator again. Leave it alone. What?
Yeah, he's not the best blocker in the world, so it's going to take a while for him to get on the field. But he's 6'5", 249 is what ESPN has him at. He was somewhat relevant in at LSU last year. So 6th round tight end. again, none of these guys are by a sure thing to make the roster, but I see him as the heir apparent to Cade Otton.
I thought that the Bucks would have done more at tight end.
I thought so too. This is not a bad start, but yeah, I was really surprised they didn't. I mean, I know they like Cade Otton there. I think the guy's a bum personally.
You hate Cade Otton. Every time I bring him up, you shake your head. You say Cade Otton, even
Well,
though
I mean, what do
he's
we
been
get
a
from
best
Cade
ball
Otton?
hero of mine.
We're gonna get? What are we getting? What are we realistically getting from Cade Otton?
You get 3 awesome games a year when everyone gets hurt, and he goes for like 7 for 75 and a touchdown 3 times a year. That's what you get from Cade Otton.
You get hurt there a lot in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is the San Francisco East, right? They get hurt a lot in Tampa Bay.
Still going on about the Deshaun Watson thing. 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 picks in 7 games. Yeah, I'm off base. He's a lock to start. No, my thing is that we don't know what Shedeur. I mean, I think we know what Shedeur Sanders is. He's a bum. We didn't like him coming out of Colorado. The numbers were bad last year, and specifically, as we know, we're Bears fans. That game against the Bears, that performance from Shedeur Sanders, that was right after he was riding a high. He had a good game before, and people were starting him in fantasy. And what was it like? Wasn't it like 14 for 33 for like $140 and 3 turnovers?
It was 18 for 35. I just looked it up. 18 for 35 for 177 yards and 3 interceptions.
I was close. I actually lowballed it a little bit though.
Yeah. And but Isaiah Bond 2 receptions for 89 yards. So, yay, I guess.
Yeah, Isaiah Bonds. Yeah, just Deion Burke's still available. Story.
Yeah,
and this is getting wild. You know what? The Commanders 187, dude. That up in 2 picks. That could be a nice spot. The Seahawks pick 188 to get a little bit of Rashid Shaheed security because he tends to get injured.
Boy. There goes Katron Allen.
To the Giants?
To the Commanders.
Ooh, who do the Giants take? I'm behind.
Bobby Jamison Travis. He's a defensive tackle out of Auburn. I don't know who he is.
Okay, Katron Allen. So how does that affect your thought process on a guy like Cam Scatterbo and Tyron Tracy? It's mostly going to affect Cam Scatterbo, right?
No, he went to the Commanders, Katron Allen.
Oh, shit. Even worse. Now they have 5 guys there.
This is a complete open competition. This is anybody's backfield. And I worry we're going to see what we saw last year, which is like, all right, this guy's the name start. Now Ja'Cory Crossy-Merritt's the veteran. So he'll get named the starter, but then Katron Allen is actually the guy. I worry that this is going to be a rotation.
So I guess what you're saying is Katron Allen is taking the Chris Rodriguez role. JCM stays in that early down between the 20s role, and Rashad White is taking the McNichols role.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing as last year, just different names.
Just slot in running back XYZ for running back ABC. Man, if they had taken an early guy, a 3rd round or higher guy, I would have loved them. I never liked Katron Allen's profile to begin with. Him going to Washington, I am off of that. I'm off of that running back role completely.
The only upside is that the Commanders were trash last year, and now the Commanders are going to be better. I mean, Jaden Daniels is going to make that offense better, presuming he stays healthy. So you will get some efficiency, but who do you Rashad White, I think, is going to be the PPR guy, right? He's the guy that's more valuable in PPR. I think that Katron Allen will be the guy in standard, and then JCM's the wild card.
Yeah, I like Rashad White. I've always liked him, but he gets relegated to basically a 3rd down back role, if you ask me. Dan Quinn is not a guy who will run one guy. Like that we have seen that time and time again. And so push comes to shove, which of these guys would I draft? It depends on cost. And it's not going to be Katron Allen. I can guarantee you that.
Sorry. I got to do the backwards hat. We talk about our boy. Quinn. We have Andre in here. Can you guys tell me a little bit about Brandon Sissy, the corner Green Bay drafted? Is it Sissy?
I think it's Sis, but we can go with Sissy if you want because he's a Packer.
What, do you know anything about him?
Yeah, he's he is out of South Carolina. He didn't start his career at South Carolina. I can't remember where he was before that. I think he was 2 years at South Carolina. Fairly decent. Like he's a bit of an undersized corner, I would guess 5'11", 190. They didn't have a 1st round pick, so it's their 1st round pick. They desperately needed to address the cornerback situation, right? They had 2 guys that were very inconsistent last year. So he feels like it feels like a rotational player to start, but he could earn more playing time as it goes on. It's a second-round pick, so it's not a huge investment, right? It's not a top-end cornerback, but they desperately needed to address the position. The guy's pretty athletic, though. Like, I will give him that. So I think he's got an opportunity to make a pretty good name for himself up in Green Bay.
Speaking of the Packers, and Andre is clearly a Packers fan, so we have to give our fans what they want. Appreciate you, Andre. You saw Jaden Reed got a contract extension, 3 years, $50 million, I believe.
Yeah, that came out last night, right?
That's pretty nice value there for Jaden Reed. It was only $20 million guaranteed, so I think it's one of those you can get out after the second year. How do you break down this receiver room? Because Christian Watson's the one, but he just doesn't stay healthy. And then we don't like Matthew Golden at all. And we love Tucker Kraft, though. So how would you break this down? Like, is Jaden Reed, who's the best value? Because right now, Watson's going in the 60s. Jaden Reed's going 110 and Golden's going 120. So how would you break down the value there? And there's definitely a more narrow target tree. Now you have Wicks off the team.
Right.
And Rubb and Dubs off the team.
Yeah, it depends on if they sign any undrafted free agents or if they end up drafting any wide receivers later in this draft. I don't know what they got available left in terms of draft picks. We've never seen a guy take a 90% snap share. It's not happened under the LaFleur era. It seems like Reed is the best value, but he was super inconsistent last year. They like his rotational ability. Watson was the guy who was pretty consistently productive. And in the 60s, I think I'm willing to take a stab at him in the 6th round, Watson over Jaden Reed. Like, I've been burned by Jaden Reed, and it might just be, my biases, but I've been burned by Jaden Reed in the past where he's coming off a 2-touchdown game, and the next game he goes 2 for 10. It's a difficult wide receiver room to parse. You're right, is a more narrow target tree. I think I'm off Golden. Like, the lack of production last year, even though he's a first-round draft pick, it screams stay away for me altogether. So I think I would like targeting Christian Watson for me.
I would say I think I like Matthew Golden the most in best ball. I think Jaden Reed's gonna be more relevant in redraft because he's more consistent, which is crazy because he's not consistent. But Golden has a profile of like, he's gonna have some deep touchdowns. But in best ball, give me Matthew Golden, the latest of all three. But in redraft, like, could you ever trust Matthew Golden? Like, I don't think I could until I see it.
No. I mean, you look at the numbers of unproductive rookie wide receivers, regardless of draft class, the numbers do not, like, you don't get a Devontae Adams is a once in a generation type leap, right? We do not see that on a yearly basis. So for me, I'm off of Golden. I like Reed because he does, he will pop up. The problem is they're going to keep him as a 70% snap share guy. He doesn't play in 2 wide receiver sets. It's going to be Golden and it's going to be Watson. And so that leads me to believe that Watson is probably the best value there.
Gabe Owners, wide receiver, still available.
Gabe Owners. I don't know who Gabe Owners is.
Yeah, I don't either. I know Deion Burks is still available. This is funny, dude, from Wally. Damn, they showed the Jets have had 18 different quarterbacks since their last playoff win. And their last playoff win, I believe, was Mark Sanchez. That's a lot of quarterbacks,
dude,
bro.
Welcome to Bears fandom. How many quarterbacks did we have prior to last year with Caleb Williams? How many quarterbacks did we go through before our previous?
I mean, not 18 because we had Rex Grossman. I mean, Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler won a playoff game.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like 2010.
I'm gonna look it up because I bet it was a lot. So we got Caleb Williams, right? Prior to that, Justin Fields, Tyson Bagent, Trevor Siemian, Nathan Peterman, Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, Mitch Trubisky, Chase Daniel, Mike Glennon. There you go, Jay Cutler. So we had 10. Oh, Brian
Trubisky should have won a playoff game. Trubisky should have won that playoff game, the double doink.
The Bears shouldn't have drafted him where they drafted him, but yeah, he should have won.
Well, that's true. Yeah, it was wild that we actually made Trubisky work for a year. We were pretty excited about him. We didn't like the pick at the moment, but it was looking okay for a stretch.
Bears playoff wins the last 40 years. So I guess they won. Okay, so loss, win. So the last win was 2016, the divisional round versus Seattle. No, 2011, not 2016. Was that the Super Bowl year? No, that was 2006, right?
No.
That was 2006. Who was the quarterback here? It was Jay Cutler. All right, so the last guy was Jay Cutler in 2011. That was our last playoff win. 2011. So since then, Jason Campbell, Josh McCown, Jimmy Clausen, Matt Barkley, Brian Hoyer, Mitch Trubisky, Mike Lennon, Chase Daniel, Nick Foles, Justin Fields, Andy Dalton, Trevor Siemian, Nathan Peterson, Tyson Bagent, Caleb Williams. So we had 15. So there you go.
It's a lot. Storey, who are our big 3 tight ends to watch the rest of the draft? I mean, obviously Michael Trigg, the kid from Texas A&M. What is his name again? Niblack.
Niblack.
Yeah.
I'm not huge on him. I think Jack Endries and Michael Trigg are the 2 best available, with Trigg being above Endries. But I had Endries ranked pretty highly on my list. Daquan Wright is still floating around, if memory serves. He's from Ole Miss. We talked about one of my sleeper guys. Remember John Michael Gillenborg? He's probably not like a top 3 tight end, but I think he's still a guy. I think he's still a guy floating out there. And then I don't know about Niblack. I'm not a huge fan of his. I'm trying to think who else is floating out there. I guess.
Well, there's been 20 tight ends selected. I feel like so. There's no.
I guess it's surprising that RJ Maryland didn't get isn't drafted, and his teammate, who's not a pass catching tight end, did get. I guess for us, we got to kind of readjust our thinking. Like these teams look for in tight ends more than just pass catching, which is what we look for, right? They look for blocking and trenches and physicality and stuff like that. Whereas we're looking for guys that can catch the ball. RJ Maryland was a very valuable college fantasy football asset for SMU last year.
Oh, Wally says Gabe owners equals gay boners. Sorry, y'all. He fucked with us. He pulled that move, and that's pretty gay.
Your hands are what makes it possible. Your shoulder pads are hard and stiff. Your hands are tender, and they can move and caress the ball. That's kind of gay, but hey.
Pretty good call from out. Taylor Green is with Todd Monken now. And that is a nice marriage because we saw Todd Monken unlock Lamar. So just a little tidbit there from Mouth. And I didn't think about that when we were discussing Taylor Green. We were talking more about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. I don't you mentioned Amari Niblack. I had to look it up. He's not in this year's draft. He entered the transfer portal.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. No, wait. Maybe he actually no. He transferred from Texas to Texas A&M. Hang on. I don't know if he is in this draft. Anyway,
watch the Bengals take Deion Burks. They did not. They took another offensive lineman. The Giants have two selections.
Sorry, he did declare for the draft. My bad.
Hey, the Raiders are up in like 6 or 7 picks. That's got to be the Deion Burks spot, right? That has to be. They have to take a wide receiver, and there's like nobody left.
Okay, so just getting caught up. Barian Brown from LSU went to the Saints. Man, they are really trying to make a nice wide receiver room around Tyler Shuck. And then Josh
Isn't he more of a return guy, though? Isn't he more of a return guy?
I mean, he's not a huge guy. Like he's 5'11". Like he's too big to be like a return. He's too tall to be a return guy. He's got like great speed, if I remember correctly. And then Josh Cameron went to the Jaguars.
Okay. Man, there has just been so much offensive line and defense taken in this draft.
Right.
Like it's man, I think we were right when we said this is a bad class. Like it's a bad class. And I didn't want to admit it in the pre-draft stuff because I was excited about the draft. And then you see how all these guys are falling. And for fantasy purposes, like, fuck me, bro. Katron Allen to the Commanders. We don't like that at all for Katron Allen. And we don't like that for anybody. These running backs, if you need a running back in a dynasty draft this year, there's nobody to take. I mean, even Jeremiah Love is a little neutered from that surefire year 1 production. Like, top 5 running back potential we were talking about. You said you wouldn't take Jeremiah Love in the first 2 rounds of a redraft league.
No, I wouldn't. I think that's too high. I think he's got a Tyler Algier problem and a James Conner problem. Now, I think he'll be a workhorse eventually, but when it comes, I think he's going to have an outstanding career. But at least for this year, like, what's a realistic expectation for a team that loves to throw the ball? Now, it might have been due to necessity last year, but a team that has a underwhelming offense. Now, the defense is also pretty suspect, so that means that maybe they're in shootouts. They don't use Love as much. I don't know. I have concerns about his usage and his ability to gain, to make production happen. Like, you can be the most efficient back in the world, but if your offensive line can't block for shit, like what's a realistic expectation for Jeremiah Love in year one? 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns. Like that's not a second round pick in redraft.
We do love Burks of the Raiders here. Another guy that I haven't heard anyone talk about is Eric McAllister at a TCU. I know he's a TCU receiver. He's got a lot of off the field stuff, but this dude at this point in the draft, like CJ Daniels as well, like why not take a shot on one of these guys? Because we just saw who just went. Barian Brown, who's more of a kick returner, and Blake says he had the most returns for TDs in college the last couple of years.
Yeah, how about that?
Josh Cameron just wins. I would much rather have, and Barian Brown, like I'd much rather have McAllister and obviously Deion Burks and CJ Daniels than these guys.
Yeah, I mean McAllister, like absolutely outstanding year at TCU. Other than a lot of off the field issues with him. I think teams are a little nervous about that. Is what I would say.
But it's the 6th round. It's not like the Jermaine Burton thing never made sense because he was a 2nd round pick and you had all the issues. Like in the 6th round, this is when you take the character issue guys, because you just cut them. They don't have any like clout to be fucking messing around, right? Like they're one mistake away from being cut. Or a 2nd round pick usually gets a couple chances.
I mean,
so that's why you take the guy with talents.
Assault with a deadly weapon isn't exactly jaywalking or even a DUI. You know what I mean? That's a pretty serious charge.
I think he was actually jaywalking while he had assault with a deadly weapon. It was a double crime there. It was also a hate crime too. It was against a blue hair. So I'm making this up, but
yeah.
Andre, how big of a loss is Kenneth Walker for Seattle? Do you guys trust a Price Charbonnet backfield? Here's the problem with that. A, we don't like Jadarian Price. B, we have no idea when Charbonnet is coming back. This might be week 10. This might be week 12. And Emmanuel Wilson's fine. I don't mind George Halane, who they obviously trust in the Super Bowl for pass protection and third down stuff. But we don't like it. We don't trust it. And they don't have a lot of passing game weapons either. So would you agree with that story?
Yeah, I think Mouth thinks that Emmanuel Wilson is going to be the starter there to start the year, doesn't he?
Yeah, and you can see this. I had Jadarian Price at 5, and you had Price at 4 for our running back ranks going into this.
Yeah, and consensus was that he was the second best running back in this draft class, albeit a underwhelming draft class.
Appears like that, yeah.
Yeah, but if he is like as pedestrian as we might think, then yeah, it would be Emmanuel Wilson. I'd be willing to bet in redraft that Price goes above Emmanuel Wilson though.
100%. Jonathan says off the field issues and Raiders don't mix. That's very accurate. At least it was not there was no car related stuff, unless the assault happened in a vehicle while he was jaywalking. He was half in the car, half out of the car, hate crime to a blue hair with a gun. This is just getting really rough there for McAllister, and I wish you all the luck, McAllister. We gotta find out what was his actual crime. Can you look up the details?
Yeah.
Was any of the things I mentioned true?
Arrest
100% Mouth. Price is going to be the kick returner for sure. That's why he went a little higher, because he was, I think, one of the best in the business at kick returns last year for Notre Dame. But you also don't draft a kid to be a part-time running back and a kick returner in the first round. Like, that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Seth McGowan still available. We forgot to mention that. Seth McGowan would be a good pick here. The Titans, they drafted another a running back already, but why not? I'm trying to see a spot for a running back that makes sense. The Jaguars possibly. The Dolphins could make some sense. The Packers. Seth McGowan to the Packers. How about that? Because they do not have a real backup there for Josh.
Man, that'd be a pretty valuable role. Like if Seth McGowan went to the Packers, oh my God, that would be amazing. So it was threatening man with a gun, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, terroristic threat causing fear of imminent serious bodily injury, which was dismissed. Then he violated his probation, and then a urine test positive for THC, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And my apologies to Blake. Yes, Barian Brown, outstanding returner. For whatever reason in my head, I had Nick Anderson in my, or not Nick Anderson. I had Nick Anderson in my head. I don't know why.
Ayuk's off the field antics would be a movie in Las Vegas. Let's get Ayuk to the maybe Ayuk does go to the Raiders, man. Just like they don't have anyone yet. They're up in one pick, so this has to be a weapon. This has to be, and it's not going to be a weapon necessarily unless it's Deion Burks. Has to be a body to play wide receiver because Dante Thornton's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Dante Thornton should have been drafted as highly as he was. I thought he was just a bad prospect. The Raiders just drafted
Malik Benson, dude. That's Mouse guy. Mouse going crazy in the chat right now, and that's actually a really good landing spot, right? I mean, that's the best landing spot. There's only one that makes sense in the 6th round.
Yeah, I think that seems like a really good fit there.
Yeah, look at that. So I don't know. I don't like Malik Benson at all. So I know you're not as warm on him as some.
I'm not as warm on him. His production at Oregon wasn't as prolific as I would like, but the profile itself is not bad. They needed somebody. Like they needed somebody. Like he's going to compete for a spot on that roster.
Mouse says Patriots for Seth McGowan would make some sense, and I tend to agree with him because my hate of Travion Henderson. Like he's just not fit for the job.
I think they really like Ramondre Stevenson there, and Travion Henderson is a nice complementary piece. I know that Travion Henderson is being drafted much, much higher than Ramondre Stevenson, but based on what we saw in the playoffs, I don't understand it. This feels more like wish casting by the fantasy community than it does actual real analysis. Like when he by himself, he was great, but the fact is he's not by himself. So
Travion Henderson is like going 47 overall, and then you're looking at 75 for Stevenson. That's a 3-round gap, and they should be going back to back, right?
I would think so, right? Like what makes us think that Travion Henderson is going to get a 70% opportunity share in this offense?
So Miles says Benson plus Tucker equals zoomies. Yes, they're both very fast, but my thing is like Trey Tucker's fine, and I think Benson's going to have a downfield role, but outside of Bowers, do you really have a 3rd down chain mover, that type of receiver that they need? A rookie needs a security blanket. That's why we wanted Surratt to go there. Like, who are you going to trust on 3rd and 7? Bowers will get double teamed. I mean, maybe it's Trey Tucker, but you know what? Trey Tucker needs to be drafted a lot higher than we've been taking him in early best balls. As of now,
at this point, I think I might be comfortable taking Brock Bowers over Trey McBride, just the way that this wide receiver room has not fleshed out.
I've been saying that for 2 months. That's the way I've been ranking it. That's the way I've been drafting it. And just because Brock Bowers is a better player than Trey McBride, as much as I love Trey McBride.
He dealt with injury all of last year. Like he tried to
still had 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, crazy.
And he missed 3 games, and he was injured for 6 of them. Essentially all year, but he was really injured for those 4 games after week 1. The injury happened.
Did he have a 3-touchdown game, or did I imagine that? I know he had
I think it's a couple 2-touchdown games. He also had Geno Smith throwing him the ball.
True. Now he's got Kirk Cousins.
Well, hey, dude, Kirk Cousins made Kyle Pitts. Like that was the Kyle Pitts renaissance was all with Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins is incapable of throwing the ball 30 yards downfield or outside the numbers. It just can't happen.
Pitts-assance, if you will.
Yeah. All right, got a couple more picks. I have people here now, so I'll do a couple more minutes. Get your questions in, get your comments in. Then we're going to be back tonight with Big Ray and Dakota. Mike Storey is having a little get-together. What are you doing tonight, Storey? Getting drunk?
I have put some beers in the old refrigerator, so we will see.
What kind of beers?
How many beers?
How many and what kind? For you, probably like 5 because you're a pussy.
No, I put. I was stopped by Binny's yesterday, so I did one of their 6-pack mix and matches, and then I did one of their 4-pack mix and matches. So I've got some stouts, I've got some ales, I got a couple sours because one of the guys coming over, he really likes sours. So yeah, there's a variety.
I thought you're watching your physique. You're drinking stouts, bro.
Hey, once in a while, you can't be too strict, right? Otherwise, it's just going to come collapsing in and stuff. You got to be able to let yourself be free once in a while. So this is every once in a while. Although I've been eating like crap. I've been on the road a lot recently. So
what do you eat when you're on the road? Applebee's?
Just whatever is available. Like sometimes we'll do a nice dinner. We'll go to a nice steakhouse or a nice Italian joint. Other times it's like, let's eat Jack in the Box in the car. Like it's hit and miss.
Jack in the Box is pretty good, man. They have a deep ass menu.
Yeah, I actually like it. I think Jack in the Box is it's not as good as like some of them, but I'm not as huge a fan as In-N-Out as people like. In-N-Out is fine, but it's not like the end all.
In-N-Out's great. A limited menu, which I like because you just get a burger. You get the fries are delicious.
Yeah, but it's not the best burger out there. You know what I mean? Like there's better burgers.
Do you get it animal style though? Do you get it animal style?
No, I like mine strictly like the meat, the cheese, and then whatever sauce.
You're a fucking picky eater, bro. You're a picky eater. I remember we went to the bar in town here, and you didn't want to get the Southwest egg rolls because beans or something were in them.
Not a beans guy, man. I don't do beans. Also, like if you come over and when I make chili, there's no beans in my chili. All right, real chili is made without beans, and I'll fight anybody on that. I will die on that hill. Real chili is made without beans.
So we've confirmed a couple things the last few days. One, Storey's married to his second cousin, and two, he'd make an awful homeless guy because he doesn't like beans. Yeah, that's fucking confirmed, bro.
What do you think drives me to keep working so I make money so I don't have to eat beans?
Yeah, I'm on the track to start eating a lot of beans here and ramen noodles.
Good source of protein, good source of fiber, relatively inexpensive, and they're much better for the environment than meat is. I get it. I can't stand beans.
And Mouse says Texas chili is made without beans.
He's exactly correct.
We have Dakota says Jack in the Box is no Portillo's. That's local to our hearts here. And then Dakota says Nutsy is a good. Go ahead.
Portillo's went downhill. Like after they sold, after Dick Portillo sold to private equity, like every private equity coming in and changing restaurants, their quality went way downhill.
What do you think about Nussmeier to back up Drake May? They need a backup for him.
Pick. Yeah, I like that. I think Nussmeier dropping this far down, it's a wild card who takes him at this point, but he was my number 2 rated quarterback coming into this draft. So I'm excited to see where he lands. Wherever he lands, I think he'll be the number 2 quarterback right off the bat.
All right, that's going to do it here. I got some family over, and again, 10 p.m. tonight with Big Ray and Dakota. Shout out to Dakota and everyone else. Mouth, appreciate you guys. Also, check out Downtown Sports, guys. Link in the description. 23 platforms. They're on YouTube now. Just type in Downtown Sports. Ian Eagle, Noah Eagle. They get the big guns on their show. Appreciate Mouth. I'm going to be on I'm going to be on Downtown next Tuesday, not this coming Tuesday. I'll be on Downtown breaking down these landing spots, all these bad landing spots, pretty much for fantasy relevance. And Storey, I'm sure are you in town this upcoming week to do a wrap up, like a fantasy angle show?
Yeah, I'm in town this week, and then I'm out of town again next week. So, but this coming week is good. So let me know.
Sweet. And then I'm going to give most of the hosts almost a month, not a whole month off. I'm sure you can still come on once a week, but give you guys a breather in May because, as you know, May is pretty much a dead time. And then we'll start ramping up in June. And by July, we'll be on full bore. I'll still be on almost every single night. You know how I do drafting underdog drafts and just talking about penises. So that's what I'll be doing.
Well, at least you got a nice stable of individuals who are willing to talk ball, and Mouth being the top of that list there, along with Dakota, Nico, Blake. Blake on? I don't think I've seen Blake on.
It's been a minute. He needs to get a new mic. Blake needs a mic. They're pretty cheap though. You have a really high-end one though. How much does your mic cost, Storey?
I don't know. My wife got it for work a while ago. I have no. It's one of the higher end ones though. It's blue. I literally don't know what it costs though. If anybody knows I don't know.
No, it's almost a Joe Rogan quality. You're like Joe Rogan, dude.
I think I'm more handsome than Joe Rogan personally. So.
Yeah, he's also like 5'8". He's super short, but he's got a way better body than you, bro.
I've only ever seen.
He's got big hands. He's very short. No, he's like 5'8".
Okay.
But very good physique on him. All right, Storey. Thanks for three straight days. We did a marathon. We did 3 hours the first night, 3 hours the second night, hour and a half midday. So we did about 7.5 hours of live draft coverage just for you guys.
And we got one and a half more rounds to go. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens the rest of this tonight.
All right, guys. Again, see you guys tonight if you want to hop in, 10 p.m. Central. That'll be a fun show. I'll be pretty lit by then, so I'm going to start drinking here shortly after I grill some food. All right. Appreciate you, man. I'll be in touch, and thank you to everybody. Love your life. Stay positive and respect each other. We out.
Just seemed like a good dude. I thought I'd see if you wanted to grab a beer, that's all. I'm glad you called. We get home safe, Pistol.
You got it, Jobin.
I'm sorry, what? Nothing. Oh, what'd you say?
I don't know. You nicknamed me Pistol, and I just called you Jobin. It means nothing. I'm drunk. I'm gonna call a cab.
All right, man. You have my number, yeah?
I got you stored in my